fantastic job. What a lot of people aren't aware of is that every set follows the same patterns. Apparently, you can blow people's mind just by telling you that certain cards will be common, certain cards will be ultras. So I wanted to prove to myself that I can do it. I guess we can just jump right in then. It's pretty self-explanatory. AGOV comes out in September? I think it comes out in September. There you go. The only obvious things right away is there's some cards that are very obviously secret rare and whatnot. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Have them vaguely organized by which theming they'll all be a part of. Start up with the pendulum stuff, and the Starfrost, the horror stuff, then all the what set was this? All the Wild Survivors support, then the Legacy support. I don't know, Angel Rings here. This is actually the most exciting part I'm looking forward to. Alright, so let's just, I think the easiest is to put the obvious secret rares where they're supposed to be. Typhoon, obviously, exceed the pendulum, so can rarity match beyond the pendulum. Then IP Little Knight, because it's the strongest card ever printed. Dia Bellstar, it's the same thing with both Fallen Walbez and Starfrost. Those are all like obvious secret rares. I'm not. Angel Ring could be like the off-meta random secret of the set, but I'm not 100% sold. So then, now that those are out of the way, we'll go ahead and throw the obvious commons that are supposed to be there. The turns every monster in the graveyard to warriors. That card's horrible. Weird alien card. Card nobody will ever play. Card nobody will ever play. All of these cards are kind of featured together. The illusion card's not good. And Scapegoat's funny. It's not particularly strong. The only thing is this one. It's like the weird new half Compulse. Card's alright, but this card could end up being a super rare, but we'll put together the rest of the list and see where it all turns out. Still obvious commons, I think. Both the new Watt stuff that isn't the synchro, I think the secret will probably end up being. Fix this up real fast. Shino Barons, while the spell card's gonna be a super rare. It'd be very weird if they split up the monsters and kept them both. Whether or not I'm pretty sure the girl Shino Baron's a better card. It would be bizarre if they split them up. So I think it's easier for the two monsters to be common. Continuous will just be super. Watt Seeker up there. If this card is anything higher than a super, that's an insult to me specifically. The new Illusion Fusion is going to be a super rare because the other high ranks, the one that's not Chimera, matches the other big boss monster of Illusions, and this one's a little better going second, I think. Gonna be a super. Doesn't look like it. I think everything else could probably. Oh, Prime. This card searches any pyro monster, or is it adds any pyro monster? Get the exact wording here. Yeah, it's specifically pyros, but it is any pyro from your deck to your hand. So I think it would make. I think it's pretty easy to say that card that searches isn't going to be put at common. I don't think we're at that point yet. And then, are there any other one-off type guys? Thinking is Earthbound Servant Geogram 1. This card, none of the other new Earthbound Wave stuff is in the TCG yet, nor do we have an announcement for it. So this card could very easily just not be in the set at all. They could just take it out, but if they do put it in, since it's part of new waves of cards that we don't have yet, I think it would be bizarre if they kept it. If they just printed a new theming starting at common, have it chill at a super. Because you literally can't play this card. So, but it showcases that there's something new is going to come out sooner or later. Yeah. And now, is there anything else here that's... Yeah, the new Gaia. I mean, come on. They printed the Synchro at common. I don't think we're gonna. It's a negate of some kind. It's alright. Come on. And then the new Malaria Trap, the entire archetype's low rarity anyway. This card doesn't fix the deck at all. It's good in the context of the Malaria cards, but I think that we've realized that Malaria is kind of dead in the water at this point. Now I think we can move on to... Oh yeah, Angel Ring. I think Angel Ring is going to be an ultra rare. Yeah. It's a negate of the first spell card. I think it's a mandatory negate. It does something that no other card does yet. It's a type of card design that doesn't really get seen too often. I think this one requires you to control Zark, so it's easy to throw that one in common. The card's not particularly strong. I think this card lets you fusion summon Zork. I think a card that plays into what the theming of the set is, which is the cool new shiny light Zark. I think printing it, they like to have a decent... They always like to put at least a couple trap cards at Super. I think the card that plays in the theme the most would be best suited there. Then we have... I think this is the... What's the exact... I know the Light Dragon card Search It is a quick play searcher. Then Pendulum Evolution. This card lets you shuffle a Pendulum monster from your hand back to the deck and add any Pendulum with 25 attack and a different name. And then it buffs a Zark you control. It's a little too wordy. I think if they're trying to... I think it's pretty easy to scroll over commons and sets if you're just buying a pack for fun, but you always want to kind of try and read the shiny one. This card assumes you already have a Zark on your field. It would be a little weird. Well, this card alludes to summoning a card named Zark, which I think is a lot more interesting to put on a holo. So I think this card is going to be the other Pendulum common in the set. Then new Worm. I think this card's strong enough to not be a common, but I think they're going to want to put at least new Pendulum at common. And I think the new Astrogram Sorcerer is just stronger in every regard. I think he's mostly end up putting down. He could probably be a super. We have the Quick Play Searcher. I think it's going to end up being an Ultra because it's a Quick Play Searcher. And, every set needs to have that kind of support card. Just like how we had, I guess in the last set, the Ultras for the Synchro was, the Synchro stuff. Did we have an Ultra for the Synchro stuff? We did not, but, in Syac, we had... Oh wow. Well, let's think about this one a little more. Is the Searcher be an Ultra? I still think yeah. It searches a lot. It can pull a lot of stuff out of the deck. Kind of matches cards like Pendulum Call, which was an Ultra. I think it... Yeah. Astrograph. I think the interesting thing about both new Astrograph and new Zards is they usually like to throw the bigger cover cards as ultras, and the cards that best support them, just hanging out, put them into the secret. So I think it's probably going to end up being something like this, but I could see them wanting to print Zerg at the most rarity, because he's a level 12. We usually give level 12s a little bit of a bump. But I think if we're going for the money call, which this is what we're trying to do, I think it's going to end up just looking like that. Go to Vsauce. I love Visas. Planetary Elegy is a kind of a weird imperm that requires you to destroy a guy to activate it. I just don't think, I think they know all the Visa stuff isn't too great this set. Samsarga is bad. Loka Samsara is a very cool card. If any card would put up the super would be this one, but I think they know that these cards aren't very strong, so I think they're just gonna put all the spell traps. Except I think the Veda Searcher is gonna end up, because Searchers are strong. So I think that also has the most probability of being played. Recycling tuners, if you control Visa Starfrost, is really good. So I think that was gonna end up there. And then Upanishad is a very strange card. It's not good. This card is not good. It's not good. It's really bad. It doesn't do anything going second. Barely does something going first. If you're able to do whatever you want while playing Visa Starfrost cards, you're gonna win going first anyway. So I think, I would say he's a super rare card. You would print this card at super and then hope everybody looks at him and is fantasized enough by the amount of text he has on him. But I think he's probably gonna end up being an ultra, but this is the one I'll be willing to be wrong on. I'm gonna say he's just gonna end up being a super. This card is not good. It's so bad. Then we have new Visas. This could go either with he's a 1521. They always print 1521s as ultras. But since he's treated as Visa Starfrost is printed at secret. I think they're gonna put Samsara at secret rare. They're gonna think people want a bunch of they're gonna think people are gonna play 3 this guy, start playing him over Starfrost, but he's not searchable. Set is not good for Visa Starfrost, folks. It's a sad set for Visa Starfrost. Trilla Sukta, I think pretty easy call for ultra rare. They've been doing a lot with low-level synchros being ultra rares, with how they've handled both Quasar and Angelica. Which card was it from? They put Disc Potter at ultra rare. They put Super Heavy Guy, even Prime Heart. I think it would be bizarre if they printed the second Vanadium Synchro as a secret when Prime Heart was an ultra. But this card is way too strong to just be a super. So I think Trilla Sukta is pretty easy to be an ultra, plus Kiklos is also an ultra rare. So I think for both theming and the general power level of the card, it's just used to go with Ritura. And it's pretty easy to see this card's just going to end up being an ultra. Then we have the Horus stuff. Well, I would personally put all the main deck monsters at super rare, because then they would all match and look rather nice. I think the one that searches the continuous spell that does anything will push the card up to being an ultra rare. And then the card it searches, because we don't know how it... there's been a decent amount of hype behind the archetype, so I think it's pretty easy to think that the card the entire archetype is run around is going to be printed at secret, and it's going to be like $30 until people realize the deck is not particularly good, and then it'll go down, and then something will come out later to make the deck really good again, and then this card will go up to $50. It'll be very fun. And then they need you to know that these cards are in the set, so they'll be printed at common. If you see it, so when you see the Canadian Strap card at common, you're gonna wonder what it plays with, and then you'll look into the set a little more and find these guys. Vanquish Soul. If they don't print another Vanquish Soul monster ultra rare, I am going to destroy them. We've already printed 8 ultra rare Vanquish Soul monsters. If we give them the 9th Vanquish Soul ultra rare, I will be upset. Such as with the trap card, all good Vanquish Soul all Vanquish Soul spell traps that are good are printed at super rare. Thus, this card better be printed at super rare. Also, I think the counter trap and the other Vanquish Soul trap card are both common, but come on, they aren't very good. If we're gonna make the most shiny deck of all time, we may as well make the only good trap card better. New Vel stuff. New Vel stuff's fun. I really like these cards. I think to match with the ritual monsters, I would personally put it at super, but I could see the card being printed at ultra to match the wild survivors, but I think it's more likely for the card to end up at super here, and then have the confectionery showdown and being common. Because one, you need to have the Nouvelle cards already to play it. You can't play it standalone. And 2, you need a Nouvelle, or you need a Patissier card. And that hasn't been printed since Dimension Force. I could see that being put in an OTS around the time of AGOV's release, but since you can't easily get a Patissier in the same set you pull this card, I think there's no way this card will be printed at anything over common. Speaking of anything over than common, Transcendrake. This card is really bad. We're not pretending this card is good. While I could see the card being put at super to be put at the same rarity as like Transcendosaurus, Meteonis. Both the other Transcendosaurus extra deck monsters were printed at rare, and I would think it very bizarre if the other Transcendosaurus, if rare from Wild Survivors was considered super in a regular set, when I think it's closer to being common in a core set. The new Ogdoatic stuff. Nobody cares. Nobody likes these cards. Nobody's gonna want to play them. And I think they will be aware of this. But this guy has many stars on him, as such he will be printed at super, and you'll be upset when you pull him. And then we can throw the new Ogdoatic. Is it continuous spell or field spell? Let's see. This card is a quick play. Oh yeah, no, this card's doomed to being a common. It'll be lucky if anybody reads this card. Then we have the new Sinful Spoil stuff. Since Diabellstar is going to be a secret rare, I think it's going to push up. Obviously, the searcher for Diabellstar has to be at least decently high rarity in order to play along with the high rarity of the Diabellstar. And also, this card lets you draw a card after you use it. It's very good. These cards will be very expensive. Well, she will be very expensive. This card will not be very expensive. Oh yeah, we can turn down the music. There we go. Then we have the quick play Diabellstar stuff, targeting a level 7 spellcaster, make it unaffected. This card is a lot better than the trap card, but with how many cards are going to end up being super rare in this set, I think it'd be easier for these cards to be common. Also, it could end up looking something like this. Having the spell cards be at super while the trap cards end up at common is pretty it's pretty customary with how things have been going with new archetypes lately. Because spoilers, the Snake Eye trap card will also definitely be common. This card's okay. You'll probably play one of it to search off of the whichever one of these threes gets the back row out of the deck. Speaking of these guys, the new Snake Eye cards are very cool. These cards are fun. Since they kind of have the same vibe that the Scareclaws did when Visas Starfrost came out, which I think it'd be easiest for all 3 of these guys to be common. It'd be very strange if any of these guys are higher rarities than the others, but I think this is where they'll stay. Then we have the boss monster. I think for the boss monster and the field spell, one of these will be secret and the other one will hang out in Ultra. I'm gonna say the field spell is gonna be secret, and then Flamberge is gonna be ultra. Because either way, you're gonna want to play. I think you'll only end up playing you could only end up playing one of Flamberge, but you're always gonna end up playing 3 of the field spell. So for money reasons, I think the field spell is gonna end up being printed at secret. And then the Diabell Star Snake Eye card. I think this one will also be an ultra rare. This card is very strong. Special summons a level 1 fire monster from the deck. It's generally a strong card. Has very nice art on it. Pretty easy to see this card getting the gold name treatment. Then this is Fire Recovery. I think this card's probably super rare. It specials any fire monster from your graveyard for discarding a card, and also can draw you a card by shuffling back stuff. This card's alright. You can see this card being put at super. Then the new fully armored stuff. These cards are also not very good. As such, I think it's pretty simple to see. It will kind of go like the Chimera stuff did. So I think the boss monster is going to be printed at super, because you're only going to end up needing 1 or 2 of them compared to something like this guy, who lets you draw a card. It's pretty strong. It's going to be an ultra. Then I could see this guy also being super. I think it's easier for him to be common. He's just kind of used in the combo. You go into this guy, and then you just put him on top of it after you draw, and then you rank up into this guy. Speaking of cards you don't want to play, spell card's it's not very good. This card's a little clunky. But it's better than this trap card, but the trap card's name is Fully Armored Xyz and is searchable with this guy. It plays into the fully armored theming really well. And, we like to have trap cards in the super rare slot. And then we have the TGs. Nobody's excited for these folks. Do not get it twisted. These cards are fine, but I love printing archetypes that lose to Droll and Lockbird. We have the new main deck guy. He's good, but some of these cards need to be printed at common, and it is main deck ones are way easier to print at common than extra deck ones. However, so we have the continuous tech genus spell card. This card is quite strong and lets you search once per turn by popping a TG to get a TG with a different type from your deck, and also turns all TGs on the field to machine. This card is very good, but they also love printing continuous support cards at common, such as Defanging, such as, I guess, Birth was a super, but this is TG's, not a new favorite archetype. And the counter trap, we love printing counter traps a common. Always get put at the lowest rarity because you're only gonna play it after you get all the rest of the cards. Then we have cool new TG stuff. We have the new Glaive Buster. He's the new boss monster. It's pretty easy to just have him treat this deck like the Super Heavy Samurai treatment. Put their new quote-unquote boss monster when you're just gonna end up I think you probably play him because you get locked into TGs by this new guy. And this guy summons 5 TGs from your graveyard. It's crazy. Glaive Buster is a new level 12. He also lets you... Glaive Buster lets you banish a card anytime your opponent summons from the extra deck, and then if any card gets banished, lets you special summon any extra deck monster from the banish zone, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is funny. It's very funny, but you're just gonna end up using the new TG cards to quick synchro into Crimson Dragon, then Crimson Dragon target Glaive Buster, make King Calamity on your opponent's turn so they cannot play cards. We love floodgates here. Then Mighty Striker. I think if any of them are going to be put at common, it's this guy. But I could see... I think one of these will end up being common and the other one will end up being super. I think Super Striker having the quick synchro effect Makes him a lot more mandatory and way easier to play in more decks than Overdragnar, because Overdragnar locks you into TGs specifically, which makes him easier to just throw at a lower rarity, because you can only play him in Tech Genus, compared to Mighty Striker, which you could maybe find a spot for, if another deck down the line can make level 2 synchros really easily. Then I refuse to believe that any card that lets you search 2 cards from your deck to your hand can be printed at common. So I'm gonna say our discard 1, search 2 is gonna be pretty easy spot at the super rare. Then we have Red Rain. This is the first Crimson Dragon search target that is good. I think they'll realize this card is good, and they'll put it at super. All the other Crimson Dragon targets are common, but they're bad. So I think they'll learn from their mistake. Then we have Dark Hole Dragon. I do think this card is good and probably shouldn't be put at... I think it'd be easy to just put the card at super, in that, because that's what the card's strength is, but knowing how these sets usually go, I think he's going to end up being an ultra. Maybe he'll even end up being a secret rare. It's possible. He says Dark Hole on him. He searches a spell card. He's funny, but man. It's bleak. Then the new Labyrinth card. I mean, you didn't hear it from me, but all the Labyrinth boss monsters are being printed at secret rare. Both Silver Lady was in Darkwing Blast, and then Lovely Lady is being reprinted as a secret rare in the tin next month, and then both Welcome Labyrinth and Big Welcome Labyrinth are both going to be secret rares, but then all the servants are all ultra rare, and Ariana, the pink-haired one, and I think the Butler's going to be an ultra rare to match the 2 maids. That's really all my logic on that one. And then let's just check my numbers real quick. Because generally, yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 secret rares, which gives them slots for 2 import secret rares and world premiere cards. So there's probably 1 Tistina secret rare. Probably it could be 1 or 2 Tistina secret rares, or I could see Angel Ring being a secret rare, being an off archetype secret rare to pull, being alongside these guys. But it depends on how many world premiere cards are going to put at secret. If they only put 1, then I think Angel Ring would be the one put up to secret. If they're going to print 2, then I think it would be an ultra. Then we have, there's 14 ultra rares in every set. This puts us at 13. So one of these is either going to be a secret or a super, depending on how many world premiere cards they're going to put in there. If there are 2, there's going to be at least 2 world premiere ultra rares. In that case, if, again, Angel Ring could be a secret rare. If Angel Ring is going to remain ultra, and one of these gets pushed down to be a super rare, I think it would probably be... I mean, I would want it to be Dark Hole Dragon, but I could see it being something like Glaive Buster. He could be a super. Maybe the Draw 1 guy, if they don't think that effect's that strong anymore. And then... So, let's say they go 2 ultras out from the world premiere. And it would look something like this, and then this would be the Tistina secret rare, and there would be 2 more Tistina ultra rares. And then there are always 26 super rares, that usually 5 or 6 of them are world premiere. This puts us at 21 supers. If one of these would be put at common, it would probably be either Red Rain, that's not Red Rain, that's Synchro Rumble, or the... Maybe Geo Gremlin would just not be put in the set at all. I could see the Ogdoadic new boss monster be put down. And then maybe they'll just ditch Armored Core. Maybe they don't think Pyro monsters are good. That could be thrown down there. Oh yeah, I would say if they decide to put in 5 super rares, then Fire Recovery would be Throwdown to common. And yeah, there we go. This is what we'll say, assuming we have 2. Let's say we have 1 secret rare as a world premiere in whatever attempt they try to do to fix Testina. Then Angel Ring will be here. Then we'll have 2 more Testina ultra rares here. Then this will have 5 ultra rares or 6 super rares attached to it. If they only bring in 5, then it's probably either Fire Recovery, maybe Dragnar. He's a really strong card. And then I think it's generally 2 or 3 super rares for the world premieres. And then our common total puts us at 33, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and then 11 TCG import commons. And then world premieres. Yeah, this works out. Alright. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can't zoom out a bit. There we go. Again, Geogremlin may be taken out of the set entirely because we don't have any of the Earthbound stuff. But I like my list. It's correct. It's what it should be anyway. If Upanishad gets printed at super rare, you heard it here first. When he inevitably gets put as an ultra, I will be upset. Yeah, that about sums it up. Okay. Thanks for coming along. Appreciate your time. You know, when all the rarities are revealed, I'll cross-check it. No, I mean it will match, but thank you for asking. Okay. Well, I'll keep this aside. If I'm like almost 100% certain on all the secret rares except Angel Ring and Samsara. Like Samsara should be an ultra rare. This card is not good, but these for sure, 100% the first 7. It could be one of either of these two, but I think it's more likely to be a field spell. Okay, well, thank you for coming along. We're gonna halt the stream. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your night. Sleep well. We'll check back in about 2 months. 2 months, just about. Just to exit it out. We'll look up the Age of Overlord release real quick. Oh, never mind. It comes out in October. October 20th. Alright, so we'll check back in 2 months specifically. And I'll prove myself 100% correct. Alright, bye-bye. For real this time.